Does it live? It does. Yay. Next man should move. What's this thing? Okay. Yeah, that works. Okay. Good enough. Just working on little examples about Go panics for a little bit. Ain't gonna be on very long, like an hour or something tops. So we'll play Valheim with the wifey afterwards. You gonna help, Mocha? What are you doing? No, honey. And I want your butt there. I can't see. Let's do a readme first. So we go annex. So one of the main sections would be what can cause them. Causes, yeah. See, so causes would be like so I'm trying to think of like what all examples would do that. I know of like 4 or 5 off the top of my head. That would be array / slice index out of bounds. Yeah, that's your typical. You have an array or a slice of say length 3, and you try to access it at like index 5. Well, the runtimes is going to immediately panic, basically. Another one would be failing a type assertion. Specifically variant with 1 return value. Right, because there's 2 variants of type assertions. There's one that returns 1 value and one that returns 2. The one that returns 1, if the assertion fails, it panics. If it's the type that returns 2, that will not panic. That will just return the 0 value of whatever you were attempting to assert it as and an error, I think. Right, yeah. Or not error, it's a boolean. Yeah, it's a boolean. Yeah. But anyway, if you use the variant of type assertions that only returns 1 value and that fails, it panics. Let's see, next one would be, what's another example? Sending on a closed channel. That will throw a panic. So if you have, if you have 2 Go routines and they're passing data, one's passing data to another one through a channel, and the channel is closed, and then the sender attempts to send more data, that will cause the runtime to automatically throw a panic. Let's see, another example would be dereference a nil pointer. That will also cause a panic. So if you have a pointer, when you declare a value, a variable of type that's a pointer or something, and you haven't set it to anything, by default it's pointing to nil. If you attempt to dereference it, it will throw a panic. Now, I want to hinge on something about this part, actually. I've seen other examples online where people talk about panics, and a lot of them get this point wrong. Because I've seen a few of them that don't say well, it's dereferencing nil pointers that causes the panic. It's invoking a method on a nil pointer does it, which is actually wrong. That's wrong. You can actually invoke a method attached to a type that a pointer is supposed to be pointing to, as long as the code, the implementation of that method itself does not cause a dereferencing, right? So if you have, this is probably, I might just be holding, this might actually be a whole other video, kind of revolving around like pointers and Go, is if you have a pointer to nil and that type has methods attached to it, you can actually invoke those methods and not cause panics, as long as the code within that method does not dereference the pointer associated with it. Interesting thing I realized maybe a month ago whenever I was trying to debug something. I didn't know that. And I was like, oh, I had no fucking clue. And I think the only other example I can think off the top of my head would be Deadlock. That will make a panic. So Deadlock is when you're kind of doing anything in relation to excuse me, concurrency or parallelism, and you have multiple routines, or maybe just one routine. They're scratchy for some reason. And all of the routines are currently in a state where they're blocking, waiting for something happening. And the runtime can deduce that, well, nothing's ever going to actually make them unblock. There's a really super easy way to cause this. If you just have like one routine and you're like, maybe you're like trying to get the gist of like channels, and you're like, okay, I've created my channel and I'm going to, and it's an unbuffered channel, meaning it has no capacity. And you're just gonna like, oh, I'm gonna send a string on it in this channel, and then the next line read the value back out. Well, if you do that, you'll cause a deadlock actually, because when a channel has no capacity and you try to send on it, the send will block until there is something waiting to receive it on the other side. Yeah. So in order to do that, you have to like make the send happen in a Go routine and then block on the receive. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I'm sure there are other situations that cause panics, but these are probably like the 5 that like immediately popped in my head. Like, yes, these all cause panics. So we know what causes panics now. So also, I should list this here is manually invoking a panic. So you can actually manually invoke panics, and there may be times you want to do this. So let's say you're working in your code, and there is some really weird edge case that you, as far as you understand, there should be no reason this ever happens, but just for like a sanity sake, you decide, okay, I'm gonna do a check to make sure that this never happens. Maybe, I don't know, you have a function that's being passed in a pointer, and as far as you understand throughout the rest of your entire code, there's no way that pointer's ever nil. But just in case, you're like, okay, I'm gonna put a check here and say, if this pointer is nil, something fucked has happened, and I'm going to cause a panic because nothing else here should basically be working. Like there's some serious integrity issue here if this happens. So I kind of want to hit the abort button, like back out. This shit's gone wrong. That would be a reason that you manually invoke a panic. So yeah, those are the main ways to evoke panics. So you've invoked a panic, or a panic has been invoked. Let's see, how do you recover? Okay, how to recover. And it's actually pretty straightforward. There is a built-in function in Go called, say it with me now, recover. And recover is a function that takes in, I think it's a string. I need to check real fast. I think it's just a string argument that just basically is just a message of why is there a panic? Or not no one. I'm thinking of panics. I think you just call recover. I'm like recover takes arguments, and it returns some information about the panic you recover from, I believe. Go panics. I always forget this part to some extent. Go anchor cover. This is what I'm looking for. The Go blog. Okay. Where's recover? Oh yeah, this is another good point that I have to bring up too, but we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, that's right. So if you you use the built-in recover function to you want to say stop an existing panic. I believe so. Recover returns the value passed into the panic when it was invoked, whether that's by you or by the runtime. So like, if I manually invoke a panic and I say to the message, shit's fucked, whenever I call recover, I'll get a value that is basically that message. And I think you can get more from it too, possibly. I think maybe you can even get like stack trace and stuff. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. But the thing was, yeah, that was the other thing. So about recover is recover has to be called within the context of a deferred function, because let's see, must be called in context of a deferred function as invoking a panic immediately stops execution, I guess, in that context. In that context, and it also resolves any deferred functions within that context. Like, runs any deferred functions and returns back up the call stack. As it returns back up the call stack, doesn't matter where the panic is, as it goes back up, all those, as you go back up the call stack, each level also basically behaves as if there was just a panic invoked. It just immediately stops there. If there's deferred functions, runs them, and then again keeps exiting back up the call stack until it gets all the way back up to the top. So the reason why it has to be within a deferred function is because if you say have somewhere where you're manually invoking a panic, and then after that you say like, oh, if recover equals that, it's never going to get there. It's going to immediately just stop executing where it was, and again run any deferred functions if there were any, and then start going back up the call stack. So this is why if you think there may be a panic either in that context or further down into the call stack as you go, you have to basically defer a call to panic somewhere in that code, basically. Use built-in recover, stop existing panic, recover returns the value passed into the panic when it's invoked. Must be called within the context of a deferred function as invoking a panic immediately stops execution in that context, runs in deferred functions, and returns back up to call stack. Trying to think if there's anything else that's like kind of important about this. Trying to find like just like the official Go documentation about this. It's kind of hard to find just that. It's like muddled together with a bunch of, you know, other articles written about basically the same thing. Let's see. I should be actually a little more specific about this part up here, which is can be done using the panic function, which takes one argument of a. Does it specifically have to be a string? Panic manual thing? Documentation, yay, that's what I was looking for. Maybe it's in this? Is it in the tour? I have no idea. Possibly. There's defer. There's gotta be a section here about panics and shit somewhere. Or not. Well. Well, the easy way to find out would be to just open up a damn file and see what the auto-completion says. But I'm pretty sure it's just a string for the message. I think that's it. Pretty sure you can get stack trace from this though. Hello, professional grade beginner. I like that name. For some reason, that name kind of sounds like what's that joke when someone's like in college way too long? Career student. It sounds like that. What are you doing, honey? You sure you can get panic struck? Go documentation, please show me that struct, you asshole. I'm almost positive you can get stack coding, panic, stack trace. I'm almost positive you can get stack trace in this. Oh, maybe. Did I find something? You have to use a debug package, okay. Sure, so I've done a series of videos on my YouTube channel about just some things you do in Go, from kind of like a basic intro to it to doing specific things, and I've kind of been on hiatus for a while, but I'm going to do kind of a sort of like a more comprehensive video about panics in Golang. Which if you don't know what panics are in Golang, they're basically the equivalent of exceptions in other languages. And there's some like little things about them, how you can recover from them, what causes them, why you might manually invoke it yourself. How do you recover from it? This stuff like that. And I'm kind of just like writing out myself some notes for when I actually do the video here soon. That's basically what I'm doing. Welcome, by the way. I'm not gonna be live like too terribly long. I just figured I would just sit there for like an hour and work on my notes. So after this, I'm going to a Valheim with my wifey. Oh yeah, I mean, I should probably say like, why would you mainly invoke a panic? May want to be done if you detect a code path that should never be reversed. Yeah, welcome. What up, homie? Yeah, I figured you would like the hat because I was like, oh yeah, that's like Oakum's avatar on Discord. I'm just ending my stream. I'm really tired. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Go relax. Go chill out. Yeah, okay. Whenever I got this hat, I actually forgot to. At one point, I meant to take a picture and be like, and like just send this to you on Discord and be like, yeah, man, I made you. I basically just got you in hat form. Let's see. I think that's like those. Okay, wait. I need. What else I want to? Let's see. Useful info from panic. Message provided when panic was invoked. Yeah, I think it's stack, so it's like stack trace can be obtained using debug package. I think that's right. Runtime, yeah, runtime/debug. Underlying runtime/debug. Show me the docs. Give me the docs. Print stack, there it is. Stack prints. Print stacks prints to standard error the stack trace returned by runtime.stack. Okay, yeah. Stack debug packages. Print stack. I don't really think you'd really want to get much else than that, I think. Print stack. Oh, you can force a garbage collection run. I didn't know that. The debug package has a free OS memory function. So instead of waiting, you can just be like, fucking free up memory now. Okay, yeah. I think that's basically... That's probably all the useful notes. Now I just want to actually do, like, examples. I think. Give message, stack trace, okay, I think that's kind of more or less it. Do a main upload. Oh, is it small? It's kind of small. Make it bigger. Text too small. Why is text so small? Stop that. Probably the most straightforward way to do part of this will just be like have a separate function for every example of inducing a panic. So like func panic from array out of bounds. And we have our, I'll just say out of bounds. It's not like arrays technically, it's like array or slices. S equals a slice of ints. 1, 2, 3. And use this way to make a panic. So like we'll do S that won't panic, will not panic. Maybe do that or is gonna complain. Is not used. Yes. Yes, okay. So obviously this one doesn't panic because when you get the value at index 1, it's going to give you 2. If you try to get the value at index 5, well, there is no index 5, so it's going to cause panic, basically. Panic out of bounds demonstrates. I always forget how you spell it. Demonstrates. I forget how you spell that. Demonstrates a panic being caused by accessing a index of a slice or array that is out of bounds for that slice or array. Yeah, panic from failed type assertion. Panic from failed type assertion shows a panic being caused by failing a type assertion, specifically a type assertion that returns only one value. Yummy. So if I just have a variable here, that's the string, right? Because go one third, that's a string. So let's do the two examples where it doesn't panic. Okay, so it's not going to panic if I do is it ring? How that work? My brain doesn't remember the syntax for type assertions. All of a sudden, type assertion. You would think I remember this. I just did a video on this. Like, well, I just did. That was like a couple months ago, actually. Oh no, okay, that's weird. It's message dot string. So this will not panic because it is a string. Will not panic. Type assertion succeeds. String okay equals message, or it's not string, it'd be num okay equals message dot int. Will not panic returns 0 value of asserted type and false. Right, because we're asserting operation message variable type string is not interface. Did I do it wrong? Oh, wait, does it have to be on interfaces? I guess it does. Oh, I didn't even realize that. Well, we'll do that then. Be like our message interface. Kinda be that way. I didn't realize you had to do assertion specifically on interfaces. Maybe I'm just so used to seeing them on interfaces that I didn't realize it had to be done on interfaces. And then finally, num equals message dot will panic due to failed type assertion of only one return. One return value, whatever. One value and yeah, whatever. Oops. What have I done? Maybe that's an ugly ass way of doing it, but I don't really fucking care. Okay. So just to demonstrate, let's see if I can make sure I'm doing this right. So we'll panic from out of panicks. And panic from failed type assertion. So run. You will see, we see go run. So we get the kind of message. And here's the panic, and here's the message that the runtime gave us. Runtime error, index out of range 5 with length 3. Okay. And here's our little stack trace. I think maybe you can get a stack trace that has a little more info from this. I don't remember exactly. But you see, like, it says, like, okay, here's kind of the top level, and then this is where it actually panicked at. Yeah. Okay. In fact, I think it's even, yeah, my Vim plugin saying, like, hey, you had a thing, you had a panic here, fix it. So if I comment this one out and run this one, you see panic, interface conversion, empty interface is string, not an int. So you'll see that it didn't throw panics for this one or this one. This one because it succeeded. This one because this version of a type assertion doesn't panic. This one did though. And then we're gonna have panic from sending on closed channel. Panic from sending on closed channel. There's a panic. I can't spell. Being caused by a routine sending data on a channel that is already closed. So we need our channel C equals make channel so let's send data on it first to indicate, oh, this is fine, this is okay. So that would be, and remember, we have to, if we're going to be sending on a channel that's not buffered, we need to send in its own go routine. So we're gonna do, I'm just gonna see, be We'll do go func 5. Oh, yeah. Invoke that function, everything. And we're gonna say value equals read from C. This will block until it actually gets data. T print F depending on open channel did not panic. Got Yep, that's a channel, right? Not the actual value I got from the thing. Now we're going to close C. And then we're going to be dumb and attempt to do this again. Now, you could do it in a go routine again, but it's just for the sake of showing it, I'm just going to do C5 again. Will panic since channel is now closed. If I go back up here, panic, the fuck did I call this function? I'm calling these functions really stupid names. Give me this whole thing. Yank it. Disgusting. Okay. Let's try that. Oops. What are you doing? Run this thing right here. Okay, thank you. So, okay, so we panicked. Sending on open channel did not panic. Got 5. Okay, first time was fine. Panic. Send on closed channel. So, yeah, attempting to send on a closed channel. Goes. Nope. Screw you. Can't do that. What was the other example? So, func panic from. I forget something. My notes. Give me notes. Read me. Pointers. Yes, pointers. Oops. Panic from dereference nil pointer is a panic being caused being I can't spell today caused by a pointer being dereferenced that is currently pointing to nil. Probably not initialized. So if I create a value, if I'm gonna initialize, I say it's a pointer to an int, right? Say num equals 5. Whatever. Or that saying cannot take. Okay. Do num equals pointer up by. Is that okay? Are you okay with that? Okay. My pointer value is so like that's fine because the value's been initialized, right? So will not panic pointer is not pointing to nil. Can I just set this to nil? Would that work? Equals nil? Will that work? Then doing the same thing. Ink that, put that, no, not that. Oh, run. What do I have against Rust? I haven't actually used Rust much myself, so I don't have much against it. I just hate how fucking long it takes to compile. That would be the only main complaint I have about it. Go run. Okay, yeah, so see, first time, it was fine. Panic, runtime error, invalid memory address or nil pointer dereferencing. Okay. So I have an example of this. Will panic pointer is currently nil. And what was the other one? It was Deadlock, yeah. Panic from Deadlock. Panic from Deadlock. There's a panic being caused by the runtime detecting a deadlock. Meaning all routines are locked, waiting on each other. But more or less what that means. Tap it, I know, fuck off. This one's pretty easy to do, I think. So you could almost use the sending on closed channel example again. So we have our channel, make channel of again. So I'm gonna do kind of the same thing as before, where I'm gonna have like a little anonymous go function here that executes. And it's going to send to this channel. Will not cause deadlock. Send happens in separate routine. Then I'm just going to throw it away equals read from C. Now, if I just try to do this and then try to do the same thing again, this will panic. Oh, wait, that's not right. Will cause deadlock, which results in a panic. I guess technically this. Oh, this technically does it. Yeah, apparently I don't even need this technically. This should probably be fine. Yank this. Paste. What? Hey, yank it, jackass. Why do you know yank my function name? Assuming I'm not stupid. Yeah, so, well, I guess it's not panic technically, but it's just fatal error. They're all asleep. I wouldn't. It's not technically a panic, I guess. Well, I guess it's not really the same thing. Okay, well. Yeah, I guess that's technically the same thing, because panics you can recover from. That you can't really recover from. Okay, well, yeah, I'll scrap that one then. Yeah, we'll scrap that one, because that's not technically the same thing. Then I need to tweak my... not that one. How much time? I don't think I got enough time to actually get... Well, just barely. Okay, so we're gonna have another one here. Excuse me. And now we're going to actually... Oh yeah, let's panic because inducing it, yeah. So panic from manual panic. Yeah, we'll just, yeah, manual panic. Insert situation that should never happen ever. Maybe, well, yeah, I don't need to make up a scenario. This would be a reason why you would do it. Like, you have some situation where you're like, this should never happen, but just in case it does, throw a panic. And I believe it's gonna do panic, and it's gonna be OMG, this should have never happened. Panic from manual panic goes. Panic being caused manually by the programmer for their own reason, such as traversing a code path that should never happen. Describe some warnings about unsafe map use. Unsafe map use, what do you mean exactly? They were saying the implementation of maps left it up to the user to be careful. I mean, I'm not really sure what their race conditions or something on reads. Oh. Race conditions or something on reads. I mean, if what you're talking about is like, so if you have a, this doesn't really apply to maps, it applies to like anything really, that there's multiple routines reading from the same map. Is if you have like a map that's being read from multiple routines, and maybe one of those routines potentially is mutating the map, you'd have to use like a mutex to lock when you're about to interact with it, if that's what you mean. But I mean, aside from that, I mean, but even in that regard, if you have multiple routines that are interacting with that data, you know, they kind of, the thing that's preached in Go is you don't share data, you pass data between them using channels. Generally speaking, you try to stay away from having multiple routines interacting with the same variables. If they need to use the same variables, you just pass them through channels. It's if you go read like, even like I think like the main documentation, they kind of urge you away from doing that type of behavior. There was something about hashing internally that made it unsafe. Oh, maybe there is? I'll be frank with you, when you start getting into like much more technical questions like that, if I haven't really needed to learn it or figure it out to do something, I probably don't know it. I'm the type of person that I just sort of learn stuff as I need to learn it, to be frank. If I've never run into a situation where that was relevant to me, I wouldn't know it. But in general, like maps themselves, in terms of like using them, I mean, if you try to access a key that isn't there, it doesn't even panic. It just returns the zero value of the thing that the map is supposed to point to. Yeah, I never really found. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, man. I wouldn't generally say maps are dangerous to use in general. Yo, what up, Philo? What up, man? I was on Brody's podcast twice. Twice even. A recurring guest, wow. I like the dude that he just had on recently. That does like game dev stuff. I like some of the stuff he does. I like that he had a video where he he did something with, there's something with his audio where he normalized it automatically. Yeah, Tim Creef. He used some kind of like a process that like so automatically normalized the audio. I was like, I want to yoink that. Because I don't normalize the audio in my YouTube videos. Actually, one thing I keep forgetting, I keep being lazy about adding to my finalized YouTube video script, is I actually I found out how to essentially put background music into a video. It's very straightforward. But I had I think I mentioned this in the second time I was on Brody's podcast, where I'm going to kind of like have a list of royalty-free music and just like pick a random song and be like, hey, you're the background music, you get overlaid in there. And then have like a more complicated one too, where it's like, okay, if my video is 10 minutes long, I need to add enough music into here so that 10 minutes of it gets taken up by background music. I do. I am like Uncle Luke. I don't use a video editor. I do just use FFmpeg. Go in the well, yeah, you're on Twitch. On YouTube, I don't think I have a link to it on Twitch. If you go to YouTube and anywhere on my videos, there's a link to my GitLab. I have a scripts repository. There is a couple of scripts in there that I basically just use for quote video editing. and one of them is called finalized video. That's literally basically all I do to edit videos. It just does very basic things. It takes the main recording, puts like an intro and an out, like it'll fade in and fade out. Takes a little subscription animation I yoinked from Brody a long time ago, just kind of puts it in a certain place, and then concatenates the outro. That's literally all it does. I live in the US, is where I live. Thank you, man. I appreciate them. I'm getting back into a bit. Not necessarily the South, East Coast. Yeah, the East Coast starting to dip down towards the south part of it, but it's more East Coast than anything. If you're trying to guess where I'm from the accent, I am from West Virginia. I'm from up there in them Appalachian Mountains. That's where I is from. I forgot what I was doing. Okay, go panic. Does that work? Let's see. Panic annual panic? Is that what I called it? What's a good idea for a Golang project to do something moderate? Turn this into XQC's chat. I never actually been XQC's chat, so I don't know how bad that is. I just assumed it was bad. The fact that you just went to that as the response, I'd assumed it was bad. That's a good idea. Make a third one. I fucking knew Yoke. I was gonna be like, library. Well, so here's a question, Babbler. Why are you wanting to build the project? Like, what is it for? Is it just for you to do? Is it to put on a resume? What's the purpose of it? Explain that to me, and then I can answer your question better. Otherwise, I can just give you some generic ass advice that I would probably give somebody else otherwise. Go run. Panic, damn you. What up, Gavin? Oh, Gavin, I never answered you in Discord, right? I will answer you when I get done with the stream. Actually, wait, you can see the fucking screen. I could just show you the fucking command. I'm fucking retarded. Okay. Is this still in here somewhere? Probably. No, it was. Okay, yeah, never mind. I think I just found it. No, wait, that's the wrong thing. That's finalized, not cut. Cut silence. Okay, yeah. So, what is this? This is. It's a bad I forgot what these fucking arguments are. Oh, that's good. I have to look at my script. I don't remember now. I haven't looked at it for a while. If the arguments look weird, it's because that's like how they were. Are you streaming on your OnlyFans as well? Not this time, big boy. I'm here for wife. Sorry, no wife OnlyFans either. Let me see. Hi Gavin, what's the count of when next vid with girl? We one of the times that we're gonna play Valheim, she actually brought up the idea of streaming it, so I might stream it one of these times when we're playing Valheim. What is my args? Okay, so the file in is the thing to process. The file out is the thing where it goes. Okay, yeah, so threshold. Threshold, I don't know why the person that tweaked this made the arguments this way. I don't blame you, I just realized they were 5. Yeah, see, I had the arguments a little different when I originally wrote this. It's not in your dist, so I gotta ask, what's your desktop environment? So this is Arch Linux, and the window manager is BSPWM. And the bar at the top and the bottom is polybar. Well, you can't see them because I have them cropped out. Badly, I can't find a CLI mind map tool anywhere. Please make them. So the first one that's actually a number, the threshold. I think that means it has to be. I gotta look at this. I actually don't forgot now because the arguments are so much different than the way I do it. Window size. Okay. Hunt for silence in windows of this size. See, whenever I originally wrote this, I did this in like, you pass in actual like decibels. But they did it like this. And it's kind of confusing to read. Emacs and EXWM are true. I have Emacs on here too. I've been messing with Emacs a little bit. Specifically, I say messing with. I'm fucking lazy and just set up Doom Emacs since Doom Emacs is easy to use for somebody who's already used Vim before. I might need to go back and refactor this to have the arguments in a way that make more sense to me as I look at this again. To sort of kind of explain this is literally, these arguments right here are what I use for every single time I process a raw. Yeah. I don't think I've used anything else except these arguments. Emacs should be compared to a window manager and not an editor. True. Are you putting this together for video? Kinda. It's like a warm-up. I am gonna do like a here's how panics work and go, and here's how you recover from them, blah blah blah. Yeah, it is technically prep for that. Which is a little different for me, because normally I kinda just wing it. Yeah. May want to use a -H. Yeah, it does. It does need a -H. Or I could just refactor it to use the way I used arguments, which was more like audio kind of friendly ways, like actually passing in like something that had decibels. So like the argument for level would literally be like -35 decibels or something like that. Also, I don't really use Emacs. I don't use anything not written in C. I just use shit that gets stuff done. Oh wait, I changed my directory. Where am I again? I don't remember. Okay. Okay. Did that even do anything? I wasn't paying attention. It did, okay. Oh my god, this should never happen. Okay. Yeah, I don't feel bad, Gavin. I think whenever the viewer sent me that version of it, if he hadn't shown me an example, I probably would have used it wrong. Okay, so we have... Okay. Need to stop soon-ish so I can get to the Val Hyman. Hyman. I can just do a quick punk recover from panic. Let's see. Recover from panic goes an example of from a panic. Wow, you don't say. Notice the call to recover must be done within a deferred function to be effective. Go func if R equals recover R is not name. We print F. We found a panic. I go defer. Okay. I guess I could use Emacs and none of these extensions. Oh god, why? Why would you do that? It's been interesting considering like me using things like Vim or whatever, because apparently at the newer job that I have, one of the senior devs was shadowing me while I helped clean up some data, and they were they were watching my screen and I was using the editor, and like it was funny that that guy was like, man, you can go super fast on there. I was like, you never seen anybody use Vim before? What the fuck? This is Vim Go, right? Yeah, this is the Vim plugin for, or this is the Go plugin for Vim. Yes. And I could just call panic manual panic. You could say that Vim is written in C and Vim script, so it's kind of the same thing. Do you see now? Recover from panic. Did I do that right? Yep, okay, so since we caused the panic, and when a panic happens, any execution after that, doesn't happen because it gets terminated, but when a panic happens, it does actually run any deferred functions. And because in a deferred function, we had a call to recover, it actually recovered from the panic. How many Vim plugins do you use? I use like 20. I forget how many Vim plugins are in this config. The config that I use, I didn't even really make most of it. I actually did a video on this like a long time ago. There's a site called Vim Bootstrap that you just tell it which flavor of Vim you're using, so Vim or NeoVim, and like what languages you're using, and it basically just spits out a fairly comprehensive config for you to use, and you can just tweak it, which is basically what I use. in comes the guy going, you know, you're supposed to write your Vim config from scratch. To which to you I say, I ain't got time for that shit. Is there anything else I should put here? Because this kind of more or less illustrates everything. Maybe the only thing I don't have on here is one that also has like the stack trace in it. So I did mention stack trace and stuff, but the message stack trace. Okay, yeah. No, shh, don't tell them my secret. And I would be of the opinion that petting cats, at least, is more important than that. I don't know about the playing games part, but the petting cats is certainly more important than that, okay? Get off my nuts. Oh. Something I think I might just do like a separate video on at some point, and this actually doesn't relate to Go, it relates to Mongo, actually. Because it's something I figured out how to do for myself at work to pseudo-automate some of the repetitive tasks that I have to do involving Mongo. So, unless I'm just stupid, or blind, or both, from what I understood, when you're using like the Mongo shell, you can pass a script into the shell to be executed, but you cannot also pass args in for that script to use. Again, unless I'm just blind or stupid, or both. So basically what I did was I wrote this little shell script that you can pass it args. And what it does is the Mongo shell has a flag you can pass in called eval, and eval will just take a arbitrary string representation of some JavaScript and evaluate it and make it available during that connection. And I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna write this little script that takes all my args, basically puts it in kind of like a generated JavaScript code and evaluates it. And now it's available for me to use in my script. So now if I need to search for some random arbitrary thing out of the Mongo database using, I don't know, like fuzzy search, I already have a script that does that. I just gotta actually like put the text in there. Okay, well, here's the arg. I just passed in the string, and it just kind of injects in there, and spits me out the result. It's very nice. It's a fuckload better than using fuck's that shit called RoboMongo or Robo3T or whatever the hell that stupid fucking GUI interface is. I hate that thing. Our MongoDB uses mongoloids. It depends on who you ask. I will say, this has been my first time actually interacting with Mongo in like a production environment. It's been interesting. I can see where it has some benefits, but man, even just now, some of the problems we've ran into, I'm just like, this shit wouldn't happen if it was just in a fucking SQL database. What? Foreign keys? What are those? Oh god. Well, let me be more specific about that. It'd be one thing if, okay, you're putting your data in Mongo, but then you still you change how you're entering your data in, because when you're using a NoSQL database like Mongo, from kind of what I've seen examples of, it's better to handle the data in a way that's not what you would typically do in SQL. Like it's kind of better a lot of times to like denormalize your data, because again, there's no foreign keys. You can technically do the equivalent of a join in Mongo, kinda, if you use the lookup operator and aggregation pipelines. But you don't have the safety they provide. But like all of the data that they have is basically relational data. It's just in fucking Mongo. And I'm like, this is not just illegal. Why wouldn't you just put this in a SQL database? What's the advantage of Mongo? So this is just from what I've been told. I can't really say this is true or not. They claim it's much easier to scale horizontally. Like it's very optimized for kind of scaling horizontally in the cloud environment. So there's that. If you have data that changes so frequently that it's not practical to have like a static schema. If I can't eval, oh yeah, of course. This is never something I would like make publicly available. It's literally only on my computer, and only I use it. No, there's no fucking way I would like put that out there to be like, yeah, okay, just insert randomly, randomly pass in JavaScript code. Yeah, no, that would be dumb, horrendously dumb. So yeah, if you have like data that basically has no consistent shape, Mongo would be better because Mongo basically does not have the concept of a schema. You can kind of insert arbitrary properties into any document you want, as far as I understand. That's probably the only two examples I know of, really. I mean, maybe there's also some value that could be given there too, where if you're one of these companies or one of these people that has like literally like a full JavaScript stack, front end is JavaScript, back end's JavaScript, you can make the argument it'd also be advantageous of the scripts you write to interact with the actual database or JavaScript, because literally the scripts you write for Mongo are just JavaScript because Mongo is built on top of a JavaScript engine. I've gotten much more used to doing the aggregations too. Those are pretty powerful. And you can do some pretty neat things once you get more comfortable with the aggregation pipelines. Do keep in mind though, when I say neat does not also correspond with safe. No, I have zero experience with functional languages. The only experience I had with functional languages was when I was in college. I think I had to do research on Haskell. And back then, Haskell just confused the fuck out of me because it wasn't explained very well. Also, I was very smooth brain about shit back then, and I probably wouldn't have understood it even if I tried. That's part. I think. Favorite language? Well, right now, the mascot for that language is a little derpy ass gopher. If that tells you anything. I like that language a lot. I can tell you what my least favorite languages are, which is basically anything that shoves fucking object-oriented programming down your throat. How do you deal with companies that require you to use software that you are ethically against? Give me an example of software you are ethically against, and I could probably answer that question. I can't really think of any software that any company I've worked for uses that I would consider ethically against. Unless you're just talking about like, oh, they use Microsoft's tech stack and Microsoft sniffs all your fucking data, if that's what you mean. Proprietary software. Well, I mean, I'm not really like a purist about that. I'm just like, I prefer to use open source software if I can. But if they're using paid stuff, and even I've used paid stuff, I mean, I just use what kind of gets the job done. It just so happens that most of the stuff I find that gets the job done better for me is, well, not paid stuff. If the company that develops the software has done bad things, Apple's the slaves. Well, if the company that develops the software has done bad things, like Apple's and slaves. Well, I don't personally use anything Apple related, period. When I started working where I worked at now, they asked if I wanted either a MacBook or a regular laptop, and I was like, well, I want the regular laptop so I can just put fucking Linux on it. It's not practical. It's not practically possible to be a false purist. We can work towards that future. I mean, sure, within reason, but then, you know, you still gotta put food on your table, unfortunately. So which is worse, CPP, Java, or C#? I've never used C++. I would say I hate Java and C# equally. Where do you get your hats? Amazon. But there are really a lot of reasons you wouldn't want to run some software. I agree. And if I have the personal choice to do it, I generally won't do it. Now, keep in mind, I have a very firm distinction between how should people deal with companies that do that. How should people deal with companies that do that? Well, I mean, if you have the freedom, if you're in a position where you can choose who you work for and you can base your decision based on stuff like that, you, by all means, you do that. But if you're, you know, a lot of people don't really have the choice. I mean, you just go fucking broke and run out of money because you didn't want to work for somebody because they use shit you don't find ethically sensible. I mean, yeah, I get it. Oh my god, this guy uses Amazon. He's a fucking normie. Gross. Now, that having been said, Philo, I see nothing wrong that if you're working for a company that tends to be at least a bit more open-minded, you introduce them to non-proprietary, more ethical alternatives to what they use. Like, there's actually been a few devs at the place I work at now who they were using Macs before, and once they've seen somebody actually kind of come on board that's kind of all into like the whole using Linux environment, using a lot of FOSS stuff, one of them I know is going to start to convert, and the other one is contemplating it. Choosing feeding your family over morals is cringe. Feel like all you can really do is either accept it until you have more pull or find a different job. Yeah, but that's basically what Gavin said. Having a family is cringe. Okay, I gotta start winding down here so I can take a few minutes break and then go play Valheim. Alright, man. Later, Follow. I appreciate you hanging out, man. Yeah, man. Anytime. I will say, for anybody who's about to leave or whatever, since I'm getting ready to go up anyway, I am trying to resume something that is akin to a schedule. So I'm going to try to shoot for Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is when I stream. Somewhere probably starting around like, I'll never leave, don't you fucking leave me. Somewhere between like 7:30 and 8. Now, whether it's me doing this or playing something or whatever, that kind of just depends. I did a video showing my girlfriend Vim and did not go great. Sometimes introducing stuff to others is tough. I thought I actually contemplated doing something like that, like oh, I teach my wife how to program, or oh, I teach my wife how to use like terminal driven software, stuff like that. Something that would be like, this is probably gonna be kind of funny to watch. It depends on the industry. I doubt creatives can escape Adobe. Before I would have said yes. Nowadays, actually, I think there's some actually pretty decent alternatives to Adobe. Like there's I forget what the company's called, but there's like a suite called Affinity. They have basically alternatives for Photoshop, Illustrator, and whatever the fuck the publisher thing's called. Those are pretty good, from what I understand. And I think they can work with Adobe project files, I believe. Bring in the GIMP. I actually got my wife to try Inkscape a while back, but Inkscape I think doesn't work with Adobe project files. Yeah, here, yeah, but I'll link you the place. Hold on. I forget what it's called. Affinity. Let's look up Affinity Designer. Yeah, this place. The best place I'm talking about. Where is she? She's probably waiting for me to get the fuck off the stream so we can play Valheim. It's probably what she's doing. Later, babe. Speaking of going, I'm going. Goodbye. Get out of here, degenerates. Go do something with your lives. Is bone closet a euphemism for No. Thank y'all for stopping by. I appreciate you very much.